Testing, testing. Yeah, probably put it like right over here. Yeah. Let's see. I'm sharing this video a couple places. No, I said I'm sharing it a couple places. Hey, shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Preaching off with the Walker Bar. This is the Wednesday night law and history class. You got any questions? We're just gonna do a basic scripture breakdown. You got any questions? Anything? Do a basic scripture breakdown. We're gonna go over a shalom, shalom, Jaime. We're gonna go over in particular Deuteronomy 28 from the beginning to the end. Break that down. Any other things, current events, anything happening? What's been happening? Let me move this chat. If you could, see, do I want that fan off? Nah, you can leave it on. You can leave it on. Let's see. So on the recap, last week had some technical difficulties. Every time I would try to share the screen, the volume would go out. And just for a recap, I went over Martin Luther King. And what I brought out about Martin Luther King was that his hero was Mahatma Gandhi. Everybody knows who Gandhi is, and that was Martin Luther King's hero. Now, Martin Luther King is known as a civil rights activist, a martyr, a hero to Black people, and he was a reverend, that believed in Jesus. And so, when it came down to who his hero was, it wasn't Jesus. It was Gandhi. It was an East Indian man who, when we went into Gandhi, we found out that he, was a sexual deviant and he was racist towards Black people. And well, the way they put it, at one point in time, let me pull this picture up. At one point in time, Gandhi was racist and to Black people. He believed that, now he was in Africa and he was talking about Black people in general, but like I know that all Black people ain't the same, but for the purpose of the argument, we know that the other nations look at us as all the same. When they say Black people, they don't differentiate between Negroes and Native Africans. So Gandhi said they were dirty. They were, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like they were dirty. They were at a lower level, right? So he was racist towards Black people. Also, when he was older in his age, he wanted to sleep in the bed naked with his grandniece to prove that he could abstain from sexual relations. And so this was Martin Luther King's idol. And Martin Luther King went over there and visited the actual house where Gandhi lived at. And the actual house is a museum. And so he said that he felt vibrations of Gandhi in that particular, in Gandhi's bedroom. And he had a room. They had a motel when they was out there, a hotel or whatever, to stay. When it was time to go, Martin Luther King said, no, I'm not going back over there. I want to stay here tonight. So they got cots, him and his wife, and they slept in Gandhi's room to get the vibrations and the spirit of Gandhi. So that was MLK's hero, right? The man that was a sexual deviant. He's looked at as a man of peace and nonviolence, but also when you look at his life, you see that he was a racist, and in fact that he, was border sexual deviant, wanted to sleep. In order to show that he could abstain from sex, he wanted to sleep naked with his grand niece. That's Gandhi, right? And so the question that I posed was, why not just not sleep in the bed with your grandniece? Why? How about you do that to show that you abstain from sex? Why you have to sleep naked with your family members in order to fight the demon of pedophilia, in order to show that you have some strength of character? Why even go that far unless it's part of your culture? But this was Martin Luther King's. That was his hero. And when they made that, I don't know where the museum is. It might be in Atlanta. I don't know. Somebody can help me out with that. But in front of the museum, the MLK Museum, there's a statue of Gandhi. So back then, a lot of people was like, why is it a statue of Gandhi at a Martin Luther King museum or memorial, right? It's because this was his hero. This is who he looked up to, and that's where he got the idea for nonviolence protest. That's where he got his ideals from. He didn't get his ideals from the Bible, right? Because the Bible says, trim not your ways. Don't try to be like your oppressor. The Bible also says to never seek their peace or their prosperity. So he didn't get his ideals or his ideology from the Bible. He got his ideology from Gandhi. And now I also brought out was the fact that the United States government, for 13 years, they were wiretapping MLK. And for those 13 years, of course, they thought MLK, he possibly could be a communist. He was a self-proclaimed Marxist. So the United States government was following MLK, wiretapping him, bugging his rooms. And through that, what they found out that MLK was a sexual deviant. And they have many recordings of him, sleeping with, white women and doing all type of heinous things that would hurt Black people, because Black people look at MLK as their hero, right? Black people look at MLK as, the example. And so if these things come out, it will shatter the image of MLK. It will shatter that image of, the I have a dream. And Sidebar also brought that out, where he said out of his own mouth, the dream had became a nightmare, meaning it was a bad idea to dream and to try to integrate with America. But if these things came out, or should I say when they come out, because they're going to come out in 2027, all the files that they had on MLK, all of those files are going to come out, and Black people are going to be cut to the heart, confounded, and ashamed, because the last thing they have to hold on to, other than Barack Obama, would be Martin Luther King. But you're going to see that he was a false prophet, and that he did which was against the Lord. The Lord didn't want us to seek the peace of our enemies. He wanted us to be separate. In us being separate, if you look at history, we were far better off. If you look at history, the first historical Black colleges were built before integration. If you look at history, all the black towns and cities were built before integration, and none of that stuff has been done since integration. So if you look at history, integrating probably wasn't the best thing. And if you look at the history of the Bible, you see that whenever we were separate and we were serving the Lord, our God, we prospered. Christians like to use that word, that thing that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, yeah, it will prosper. Every weapon formed against you will prosper if you're not keeping the law, statute, and commandments. And better yet, if you are sinning against the Lord. If you are celebrating Christmas and you celebrating these holidays, and what the next one is coming up is what is it? Valentine's Day. If you're doing these things, then you're far away from the protection of the Lord. You're far away from a weapon formed against you not prospering. It's going to prosper. It's going to destroy you. It's going to hurt you. It's going to keep you further away from the Most High. But MLK, these things are coming out, and then you have this brother right here. This brother is, let me pull this up. This is Senator Stephen Bradford, representing the 35th District in Los Angeles, and he basically is the man that was put in charge of fighting these files, fighting the government for letting these files on MLK come out. So he's trying to stop it. He's trying to fight and try to stop it. And he's what this brother, this Christian lost brother, is saying is that they have no right to try to destroy the legacy of Martin Luther King. Now he's not saying that what they found isn't true, that it didn't happen. What he's saying is they don't have no damn right to come and try to tear down his legacy. That's what he's trying to stand on. And he's preaching about not preaching, but he's talking about all of the good things that Martin Luther King did, and nobody had done anything before Martin Luther King, probably since the time of Abraham Lincoln. So he is like not only a black hero, but a national hero. And he's saying they don't have the right to try to destroy his legacy. Well, listen here, man. If you sin against the Lord, what happens in the dark will come to the light. You can't claim to be a prophet of God. You can't be in the seat of Moses and Aaron, like Christian pastors and black leaders, and mislead God's chosen people and do your nasty, deviant deeds in the dark and think that the Most High is not going to pull your skirt up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You see that all the time with pastors. Black pastors are exposed all the time for molestation, for sleeping with other men's wives. I remember it was a story when I was early in the truth. It was a story with a brother that it was a pastor that was sleeping with a brother's wife. And this brother came to church on Sunday to confront him in front of the congregation. The pastor shot the brother in the chest, killed the brother in the church. The pastor was sleeping with the brother's wife. Right? The Lord is always going to expose these pastors. The problem is that we love this type of stuff. We love these people, these celebrities. The celebrities are another thing. This is the idolization and the worship of celebrities, of black leaders, of people in the limelight, people on television, people with a high station in life. You look up to them, and when they do something wrong, instead of condemning them as black people, we don't condemn them. You didn't condemn R. Kelly. Instead of condemning them, what we do is try to find ways to still love them because of the deeds that they done, or the good things that they done, or all of the movements, or the civil rights movement that MLK spurred, or even the great songs that somebody wrote. Oh, he makes some good music. Yeah, I know he did that, but that boy can sing though, man. That boy can sing. I know they say, yeah, I know he did that, but man, ain't nobody ever did it like him though. Yeah, I know he molested some little boys, but who can be compared to him? I know he was doing some sexual acts. He was with underage girls, but Man, he write all his own songs. All you see all those hits he got? We don't want to let our leaders go that show us right in our face that they are incapable of being righteous leaders. And that's the same here with MLK. So this brother right here, he's out to fight and make sure that those files on MLK don't come out. Because when those files come out, that is like the last hope of the Christian Negro. When those files come out, and you can go read them yourself, when those files, they give some descriptions. One of the descriptions is that MLK is recorded being in a hotel room with another reverend that is forcing himself to forcing anal sex on one of his parishioners, one of the people that goes to his church, a woman, and MLK is laughing and giving advice. These things sound very horrible. And you, of course, as Black people, we don't want to see our people destroyed or even attacked or torn down, being all the things that we done went through in America. But we serve a righteous God. And you can't, there's a song, it was a brother named MC Breed when I was coming up. It ain't no future in you fronting. You can't front and you can't act like it's one thing when it really ain't. Those things that you do in the dark, the Lord is going to expose. He's going to bring it to light. He's going to bring it to the forefront. You have a position of power to move and shake God's people. When you decide to be a hypocrite, you decide to say one thing in public and do another thing in secret. And that has been Christianity. That's why Christianity is is the main principal enemy of God, of the ISUPK. Christianity is the thing that we're fighting when we go in the streets. Christianity is that in the ideology that permeate what's the word I want to say, that permeates throughout or vibrates throughout all of America, from rich to poor, from Black to white. But when it comes to God's chosen people, they can't even see the truth that we're saying, because Christianity has such of a stronghold on the minds and the spirits of God's chosen people, right? But those files are going to come out on MLK, man. And when they come out, it's going to be, it's going to shake up the Black community. But hell, it's going to be the same thing. You see, it's just like in Christianity, right? Eddie Long was a pastor, and Eddie Long molested 2 boys. And these boys grew up to be homosexuals. One of them killed himself over it, because they couldn't get over the idea of this pastor at church, doing these things to him on a continual basis. And the church still embraced Eddie Long. After all of those things came out, they still embraced him. So you got to look at Christianity. They call the ISUPK a cult. Christianity is a cult. You know what I'm saying? That's a real cult. The kind of the bad cult where you drink the Kool-Aid and it's really poison. And then later on, and then y'all singing songs, and then later on you die. That's what Christianity really is, right? Because what Christianity does, and give me Colossians 2:8. What Christianity does is it lies to you. It lies to you. It's like the story of the wolf, where the wolf his neck is slit, right? And he's licking the blood, and he thinks he's licking blood of another animal. Well, really, he's just killing himself. He's just licking his own blood, right? In Christianity, it's just like a slow destruction. It's not a fast destruction, but it opens you up to accept everything. It opens you up to sin against God. It opens you up to what they call in the church backslide. Oh yeah, sister Jenkins, she ain't been coming to church. She done backslid. That's what they say in the church. You probably don't know, young man, but that's one of the things they say in churches. When you ain't been coming to church, or when you done did some stuff, you done backslid. You done, felt. Now you got to get back in it. But Christianity, what it doesn't do is make a person say, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this today. This is what I've been doing. I'm tired of this. I see in the scriptures, it say it's wrong. I'm a repent from it, and I'm not going to ever do it again. Christianity doesn't have that effect on black people. It doesn't have that effect because you see time and time again. All the murderers, all the rapists, all the drug dealers, all the gangbangers, all the mobsters, all of them are Christians. Whether Baptist, Catholic, whatever, they're all Christians. They all believe in God. They all was raised in a Christian church, and they all still sin against the Most High, and they all still do those things, those wicked, evil deeds against other people and each other. You got that for me?
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
The Bible says to beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Now I brought that out. I think I brought that out last week about being spoiled. Like black people are spoiled. Like is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Like, why are we spoiled? Meaning, spoiled meat. You got some spoiled meat, you can't eat it. It's good for nothing. It don't even have any value anymore. The value was in it giving you some value while you eating and getting some protein or having a meal for the night. But because it's spoiled, you can't cook it, you can't make it, you gotta throw it away. It's no good. They say that on social media. Just throw the whole thing away. Throw the whole car away. Throw the whole this away. Well, when something is spoiled, it loses its value. Read it from the top again.
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
So you can be spoiled through philosophy and vain deceit. Philosophy and vain deceit can spoil you. Christianity is a philosophy on the Bible. A philosophy is just like a thought, a way of thinking about a certain thing. There's so many philosophies. You see philosophies all over social media. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get to that social media. You see philosophies all over social media. They put philosophies on memes. It'd be little weird philosophies. Like it'd have a picture of like NBA young boy. It'd say something like, people wasn't rocking with me when I was down. Don't try to rock with me when I'm up. It'd be some borderline, what is it, like self-pity, some trash. But it's be all kind of philosophies online. Like stuff about relationships, you name it. And a lot of people see those philosophies. A lot of black women, Hispanic women, a lot of black men, Hispanic men see those philosophies and be like, yeah, that's right. Let me repost this. Yeah, just right on the nail. Some of it might be true. But the point is, philosophies are everywhere, right? Now, being spoiled through philosophy and vain deceit. Vain deceit. We went over vain about 2 weeks ago. It's being empty, useless. Vain lies. Just vain lies, like you don't have to keep the law anymore. Jesus nailed it to the cross. I plead the blood of Jesus. Just vain lies that are not even in the Bible. Christianity teaches you to believe a certain way that is not even in the scriptures. Read it from the top.
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Any man spoil you. That means any man. That's why when it comes to this truth, you can walk up in here. You can come in class right now, and you can challenge us on the scriptures. The Bible says to prove all things, right? And you may say, well, y'all just another man like me. Y'all don't know what the truth is. The difference is that we can show you through history and through biblical prophecy what we saying is true. So if that can't be shown to you, like in Deuteronomy, it says if it's a prophet that speak not the words of the Most High, then he gonna be put to death. He's not with me. I'm not with him. So you have to make sure, like, a man that's telling you something about God, is it really about God? And just hold that. This is another thing. When it comes to God, our godliness, our spirituality, this is the thing. Everybody makes up things. Everybody has some idea or ideology or philosophy about, life. Some people say, oh, You know, God is in me. God is in this. But what you always see them do is use terms that relate to the Bible. Like when a person has a different belief or they're against the Bible, they still talk about praying. They still talk about, you know, spirituality and believing in a higher being. So they're still using the terms that come from the Bible, right? They're not using something different. So in reality, you have to question a person on, what do you believe in? Do you really know what you believe in? How do you know what you believe? And a lot of times what you find out is people just have a feeling. It's just a feeling. It's not even based on history. It's not based on anything except what they feel at the time about, you know, God and life. But go ahead, read it again.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2, and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. After the tradition of men.
After the what?
After the tradition of men.
So Christianity is a tradition of men. All of those reverends and pastors in the Black and Hispanic community, they're coming after the tradition of men. Martin Luther King came after the tradition of men. He did not come after the tradition that's in the Bible of our forefathers. The Isupk comes from the tradition of the Bible, of our forefathers, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the tradition. The things you see we do in the Isupk is traditional. You see the captains and officers. That's the first thing Moses did when he set up a military. He found captains and officers, heads of the people, right? He got together a military, right? There's a lot of things that we do that people might not understand, but a lot of them are straight from the scriptures. And then some people say, like I had some weirdo asked me about why I don't have my glass, why I got glasses on. He want to look in my eyes, right? And a lot of people may say, well, why do y'all wear shades? Well, that's a tradition of the high priest. That's a tradition that came down since 1969 here. So we keep traditions of the men before us, right? Where there's no law, there's no sin. So if it ain't in the law, if we're not sinning against the Most High, then why in the hell does it even matter to you? What should matter is, are we doing anything that is against the scriptures? Are we doing anything at all? That should really matter to you. Not, whether or not you can look into a brother's eyes or not. Right? Keep going. After the traditions of men.
After the rudiments of the world.
Right.
And not after Christ.
And not after Christ. So you got to beware of these things. And I'm showing you Christianity. It is, a vain philosophy full of deceit, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ, after the traditions of men, the Roman Catholic Church. Our Christianity comes out of the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Catholic Church. And every religion that you see here in America, whether it be Methodist, Pentecostal, Baptist, Catholic, whatever it may be, these are all branches or children under the umbrella of the Roman Catholic Church. And most of them have been started. Well, all of them has been started, especially these ones in the 20th and 18th and 20th and 19th century, were started by white men. You can go research this. I might do a Black Authentic Truth on that, about all the religions that Black people follow today. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so where we at? So we're going to get into Deuteronomy. We're going to read it from the beginning and break it down for you. Deuteronomy 28. We're going to start at chapter 1. We're going to break it down. If you have any questions, it looks like I got 10 people in here. Make sure you like and share this class. Let's boost that algorithm for Southern California. All right. Let me know when you're there. Okay, go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I commanded thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So
this is Moses. This is the Lord talking through Moses, telling the children of Israel, these are the blessings. This is known as the blessings and curses. You ask your pastor, what does this even mean? He's just going to tell you that's the blessings and curses, but he won't be able to break it down for you. Martin Luther King wasn't able to break this down. Malcolm X wasn't able to break this down. Marcus Garvey wasn't able to break this down. And Salaki, let me sidebar one more time. When it comes to all of the black pioneers, and let me just say, being in the truth, we know in the truth, no one has the answer for black people. We know that in the truth. In the Isupk under Commander General Hana. We know this for a fact. We know that this is our identity for a fact. Now, with that said, there are a lot of brothers and sisters that follow the different pioneers. And what I mean about that, you had Nat Turner, you had Marcus Garvey, you had Malcolm X, you had Huey P. Newton, you had a lot of brothers and sisters that didn't have the answers, but they had the heart to fight for their people. And when you look at things like the revolts and everything, you look at things as far as like Nat Turner, and you look at things as Marcus Garvey, a lot of these brothers read the Bible. They read the Bible to be able to do what they were able to do. They looked in the Bible and seen oppression, and they seen a one people over the other. And that's where they got their strength to do the things that they did, right? No one has never done these things before, but the point is that they mustered the strength and the courage to do what they did by reading the Bible, not by reading the Book of the Dead, not by Pan-Africanism, not by any other school of thought, of ideology, or philosophy, not even by Christianity, but what's really in the Bible. You can't produce anything revolutionary or radical that could elevate your people if it doesn't come from the Bible. I'm gonna just drop that. Where you at? We on verse 2? Salakia. So this is the Lord saying that if you listen to everything that I say, if you follow these commandments, I will put you above all nations. You will be on top of all nations. Like in a Negro's mind, you can't even imagine being on top. You would rather be on top by yourself, like an entrepreneur or a business owner, than think the idea that all black people can be ruling and be on top, right? But the Lord said he will put us above all nations, which seems like that don't even sound like equality, right? Because we live in a world where we're programmed to think everything should be equal. But the Lord didn't see it that way. All we had to do was listen to him, follow the law, statute, and commandments, and we will be above everybody. Give me verse 2.
Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee. And thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So all of these blessings and these good things would come onto us and overtake us, right? If we listen. Hearken means to listen to the voice of the Most High. Listen to his prophets when they telling you. Listen to the prophets of the Isupk when we tell you to get off the weed, when we tell you to get off the drugs, stop selling drugs, stop being a whoremonger, stop being a whore. Listen to the things we are telling you. These things are not because we want to tell you something and tell you because we want to rule over you. These things are because God says them. We didn't make this up. The Lord says it, right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
So you will be blessed in the city and in the field. Everything you put your hands to, it will prosper. In the city, your businesses will prosper. And it says, what it say? In the field, your agriculture, your farms, your ranches, they would prosper. All right, go ahead.
Verse 4. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground,
Mm-hmm.
and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So that's what I just said. You'll be blessed in, everything that you do. Having children, you'll be blessed in that. You'll be blessing your herds and your cattle. You know what that equals to? that equals to money. Having herds and cattle. If you was a man or you was a brother that had herds and cattle, like Job, you would be considered a rich person, right? Go ahead.
Verse 5. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed
So
shall,
keep going.
verse 6. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So it said, "Blessed shall thy be, blessed shall be thy basket and thy store." You would have plenty. You wouldn't go out. You wouldn't go without food, right? You would have plenty of food, nothing to worry about. I'm not having to go to another man to eat, right? Where were you at? Verse 6. All right, go ahead.
Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
So a lot of times you can look at it like this, like when you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to have the mindset is like, I'm gonna have a good day today. I'm gonna have a successful day. I'm gonna have a productive day. So blessed would you be when you go out, you're going out with a good attitude. You come back in, you coming in and you had a successful day. It was productive. You know what I'm saying? You did everything you wanted to do. Everything was positive, right? Go ahead.
Verse 7. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways.
Damn. So basically, your enemies should basically your enemies will run up on you, and you would defeat your enemies, and they'll come one way. They'll all come together, but by the time you get done, they'll be running like ants, trying to get away, more like roaches. They be going all different directions, trying to figure out how they gonna get back, how they gonna retreat. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So in ancient Egypt, they had storehouses. They had storehouses where they held the grain from the harvest, from harvesting the wheat. The Lord said He would bless you in all of that, right? You would have your storehouses. You would have food stored up. Like right now, we got food in the back stored up. That's another thing that you never know when war might happen. We don't know when a natural disaster might happen. So in the ISUPK, we have a contingency plan where everybody got to get food. You got to get that food. Get it now. Get them rice and them beans and that flour and that cornmeal. Get it now. Costco, Sam's Club, wherever, get it now and have it stored up, right? But these are blessings that the Israelites would have had for following the Lord. You would have been able to, store food, go and have a successful day. Any enemies come against you, they get scattered, they get confounded. Where we at? Mm-hmm.
Verse 9. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways.
Right. So the Lord said he would establish you. That means to set a foundation for you if we would keep the commandments and walk in his ways. See, blessings don't come without conditions with the Lord. In order to be blessed, you got to walk in his ways. You got to fight your demons. You got to, fight the things that you want to do and do the things that you don't want to do. Right? Keep going.
Verse 10. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee.
Right. Because the Lord would be on our side. So you would know, like, those are the Israelites. Don't mess with them. The God of heaven and earth, he's on their side. And they would be afraid of us. Now, you see, they're afraid of us now, but they're afraid of us in a different way. They're afraid of us where they make laws to keep us down. They're afraid of us where instead of, a regular traffic stop going, like it should, you end up getting shot multiple times. Like as though they, you was the Incredible Hulk or something, they had to put you down. They're afraid of you in a different way. They're afraid of you rising in business. They're afraid of you getting a lot of influence. They're afraid of you being a leader that has a lot of influence. They're afraid of you being the leader of a radical revolutionary group, having a lot of influence. They were afraid of Jesus Christ because he was a revolutionary and a radical because of his influence. If you could, what verse are we on, Salaki? Verse 11. Yeah.
Verse 11. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, and the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee.
So the Lord will make us these things. We already kind of went over these things, but the Lord will make us have abundance, right? Our children, uh, the fruit of our cattle, meaning your cattle is they're giving birth. Everything is just running like a machine. Everything is running good, like a well-tuned engine. You know what I mean? No problems. You would just prosper naturally. Naturally, you would prosper. And that's why I talk about, even when it comes to now, how the conversation in the black community is all about money. It's all like your whole life is about money. Like, any problems that you have within your household is about money. Money is the root of all the problems. Money is the problem. I'm sorry. Money is the reason why you can't, get here, get there, can't do this, do that. Money is the reason why, you have, you may not have a good attitude today. Bills. Money is the reason for all the problems in the black community. Then when it talks about relationships, money is the reason why black relationships fail, because of money. And now you have people that have this astronomical value in their head of what the type of money a man should make or a woman should make. When, if we were keeping the law, statute, commandments, money wouldn't even be an issue, because money is not an issue when you have what you need. And we just read where it said the Lord will make us plenteous, right? What was the word he used? Plenteous in goods, in the fruit of our body, in our children, right? What else he say? In our cattle, in the fruit of our ground. So in our cattle, in our crops, we would prosper just for keeping the law, statute, and commandments. And it would never have been this conversation in the black community. You know why the conversation is about money in the black community today? It's because we were slaves. It's because we're the bottom class of this society. We're at the bottom caste of America. Whether black people, Hispanic people want to admit that or not, we're the bottom. We're at the bottom of the barrel. And so everything is about money. Everything is about finances. Everything that you wear, what you drive, where you live is about status. When the Lord didn't design it that way, he designed it so that if you kept the law, statute, commandments and walked in his ways, you didn't worry about nothing. You didn't worry about your next meal. You didn't have a materialistic mind state to say, I got to get a bag, I got to get this to get that, right? Because it was coming. It was going to come anyway, right? So where we at? Verse 12. Let me see. Go ahead. Verse 12.
The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Damn. So the Lord would open up the windows of heaven, right? The windows, meaning the windows of heaven are it's in the firmament. It's that's probably a little too deep. It's the openings in the firmament, right? And everybody knows that if you ever study ancient history or ancient cultures, they heavily depended on whether or not it was going to rain. Because if it don't rain, then your crops don't grow. If no water falls, nothing grows. And there has been times of famine. I think they say California is in a famine because California doesn't really get that much rain. We don't get that much rain. We probably get out of a year. We probably get what a solid week of rain, broken up, right, out of a year. So rain is a really big thing, and everybody knew that rain came from the Most High. Or other heathen cultures, worship their gods, and when they rain, they used to do things and do all kind of customs and practices to make it rain, or for a sign of rain, or when it did rain, that was a sign of them having good favor with the god that they thought. Go ahead. Yeah, and yeah. So rain is life giving. Water is life giving. That's why most of the ancient cultures that existed, whether it be Babylon, uh, uh, um, Nineveh, Egypt, they were by bodies of water, because the water gives life. The Nile gave life to a lot of things. All the big cities in America, water gives life. Also, it's open for trade for ships from other countries, the ports. So that's why the biggest cities are by the water, right? Are close to it. But the point is that verse 12, he said, rain, that the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in its season, and bless all the work of thy hand. So whatever the work of your hand might be, you might be a carpenter, you might have your own business, whatever it be. But it said, you will lend unto other nations, and thou shalt not borrow. See, it was a time when we wouldn't have to borrow from other people. We wouldn't have to ask for nothing. They would have to come to us. We would be the lending tree. We would be the people that are lending, and we wouldn't have to ask for nothing. If anything, we would just go in between each other to borrow from each other, right? Keep going.
Verse 13. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath.
Mm-hmm.
With that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I commanded thee this day, to observe and to do them. Verse 14.
So wait. So the Lord said he would make us the head and not the tail. You hear Christians say this all the time, but they say it in a vain way that really means nothing, because how they use it has to do with a sermon or something about their personal life, saying you would be the head and not the tail, meaning I don't even know what the hell they mean when they say that, because I know they don't really understand it. But this is talking about the nations. We would be the head nation and not the tail nation. We wouldn't be the nation that's following, but we would have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We would be the nation that is wealthy and powerful. We would be the like when you think about who is the wealthy and powerful nation, you don't think black people today. You don't think no Hispanic people today. You don't think no Native Indian people today. Who do you think? You think Caucasian people, Edomites, white people. That's who you look at as the wealthy and the powerful, right? And they're the head and we're the tail. But the Lord didn't want it to be so if we would have just kept his ways. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes.
Wait. Verse 14 was heavy. Salaki, I didn't mean to skip that. Read it one more time.
Verse 14. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve.
So this is saying everything that he just said. Don't go aside from following those things. And more importantly, don't go aside to serve other gods. Remember, when the Israelites came to possess the land of Israel, there were numerous nations around about them. And these nations had different gods. These nations had beautiful women. They had different gods, and they had different culture. And to black people, that is very attractive, right? And I just think to humans, it's very attractive to want to try somebody else's culture, because I don't think it's just us, it's everybody. Yeah, all nations want to try other people's culture. You see it here in America. They want to try other cultures' food. They want to try to worship other cultures' gods, practices, all of that. So, but we're a peculiar people. The Lord made us different. He set us apart. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6 real quick. We're a people. You know what? Just hold that. Just hold that. We're a peculiar people. No, you can't get it. Get it. Go ahead and get it. We're a peculiar people. So peculiar means like we're set apart. We're different, right? And the Lord is with us. And so we don't have to actually try to serve other gods and, which were not gods, or, try different cultures, or, want to be with other nations, women or men, because what the Lord had given us was good enough. So what the Lord did was just leave it up to us to choose life and death and fight our demons and fight those demons. Like even today, brothers fight those demons. I don't know if brothers fight them. I don't think brothers be fighting them, but brothers go ahead along with those demons and, try to get, a woman from another culture, another race, and think that that woman is better than his sister, or the woman that knows more about him and can understand his issues and understand his life and his struggles, right? Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord thy God.
Let's slow it down. So we are a holy people. And you heard this before. Holy means separate. Just means separate, set apart, right? In a Christian church, holy is some crazy a spiritual nutball stuff where it doesn't even mean what it means in the Bible. It's like just to look good, some vain philosophy, being holy. I think it's more about the look in the Christian church. It's more about looking like you're a man of God, talking like you're a man of God. And most pastors talk the same way. Like, y'all don't see nothing wrong with that. Like Christians don't see no. Well, yeah, and yeah, and Jesus came down on the mountaintop. Martin Luther King talked the same way. Y'all don't see nothing wrong with that. Like it's an act. It's entertainment. That's what it is. It's you in the goddamn church on Sunday, and it's like a show. It's like a real show. It's entertainment, and they put on a good show with the singing and the dancing and the choir. But you walk out of there like you're just so spirit filled and you're so holy. But if I walked up to you and asked you what did you learn, you couldn't tell me anything. Your pastor up in that damn church telling you the same story 20 damn times in the same year. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, I don't want to get side, but keep going. Holy means to be separate. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
The Lord chose you. The Lord chose blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to be a special people. It's hard to grasp that. It's hard to understand that in your mind because in America, you're not a special people. You're just average. You just, I'm trying to come up. I'm trying to go to school. I want to get a scholarship. I want to play in the NBA. I want to get a rap contract. You're the people on the come up. You're not considered a special people. You're peculiar. You got what is it? Marketing, not marketing, but you got entertainment qualities, but you're not considered a special people in America. You're considered bottom tier in America. The Lord made you the Lord made you top tier. Black and Hispanic people are top tier in the earth. That's how the Lord designed you to be top tier. But it's up here, it's your mind that where you've been spoiled through vain philosophy and lies. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself,
Mm-hmm.
above all people.
Go, Salaki. Go ahead, finish that part of the precept.
Above all the people that are upon the face of the earth.
The Lord created you to be. He wanted you. You are special to the Most High. I say this there all the time, man. When I'm out on the streets, I say, the Lord, like you have the right to, like, in your closet, you got clothes, you got shoes, but you got a special shirt that you like above all of those clothes, or you got a special pair of shoes. You got something special that's not that's not the same. It doesn't have the same meaning as everything else. It's better, right? The Lord made you special above all people on the face of the earth. That don't sound like equality. Equality is not in the Bible. You can't find equality with men and women. You can't find equality with nations. Look at it this way: the Lord made different species of birds, different species of different animals, lizards or whatever. He also made different variations of human beings. There is no equality in the Bible. None at all, right? Um, Go ahead. Was that the end of it? That was it. Did I break it all the way down? All right, drop it. Let's get back to where we at. Deuteronomy, what was that, 15? So now we done got the blessings. We just went over the blessings of Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Now we're going to go into the curses. If now the blessings was if we followed that. These are the curses if we didn't follow the ways of the Most High. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So he said, if we didn't do these things, the Lord said he's going to put these curses on us. He said, oh, okay. What was that, Denzel Washington? What was that thing in Training Day? It's like, oh, okay, all right. I'm going to put not cases. I'm going to put curses on every one of you. I'm going to put curses on you because you decided that what these other nations had was better than what I was giving you. You decided not to follow my ways. Now I'm going to put curses on you. Go ahead.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now we just read that about earlier about being blessed in the city and the field. Now you're being cursed in your business. Now you're being cursed at your ranch, your livestock, your farm, because you don't follow the law, statute, command. Now we're cursing our businesses. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day little boys and girls, white girls, little black boys, white girls, will hold hands in the spirit of brotherhood, brought us together, integrated us into a burning house. And then when we integrated, we lost all our businesses. And then our businesses became cursed because they died. Black Wall Street was destroyed, burnt down, but they built Black Wall Street up again. A lot of people don't know that. Black Wall Street was rebuilt, but it died because now everybody is going to white businesses and not to black businesses. So even though they were strong enough to rebuild it, they wasn't strong enough to fight integration. And that was a curse. That was a curse from not following the Lord and loving your people. Businesses was cursed in the city and in the field. They got black sharecroppers, Hispanic sharecroppers, Hispanic workers in the field right now that don't get paid what they should be getting paid. They out there picking grapes, strawberries, cotton, you name it, vegetables, everything that that produce that especially out here in the Imperial Valley, not Imperial, I'm sorry, Kern County. But we're cursed in the cities. Now we're talking about support black businesses. I can't get nobody to buy that. I can't get black people to support my black business. I can't get a Hispanic person to support my Hispanic business. I can't get paid the proper wages for the crops that I bring in as a black farmer. I can't get paid the proper wages. I get paid unfairly as a Hispanic man or woman that's in the field 12 hours a day. We are cursed in the city and in the field. All right. Where we at? Verse. Yeah.
Verse 16. Verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store.
Your basket in your store. Now you don't got nothing enough to eat. Now you got to go to another man for something to eat. Now you need food stamps. Now you need your EBT. You need something to supplement what you already got. You need something else coming in to help you eat and make it through the month. To make it through the goddamn month, right? Now let me just say this: it's not wrong with getting it. We all grew up. I grew up on government assistance, getting the government cheese, uh, the honey. How many of y'all know that? Y'all don't know about that. Y'all don't really know about that block of government cheese. Y'all ain't in the trenches. Y'all wasn't in the trenches. That block of government cheese they used to give you, right? Summer, we used to look forward to this summertime at the community center because they was giving out free lunches every day during the summertime. You know what I'm saying? That supplement your diet, supplement your diet during through the summertime in the hood. You know what I'm saying? But now we don't have enough to eat. Now we got to go to another man to supplement that to help us have more to eat. When the slaves was on the plantation, they wouldn't give them a lot of food. So you know what slaves used to do? They used to go out, sneak out in the middle of the night and go hunt and kill opossums and go in the master's garden and steal potatoes. And what they would do is put the potatoes and the possum in the ashes from the fireplace to cook it, you know, to have some extra to eat on top of the slop or the pot liquor. They called it pot liquor. Sometimes it'd be pork fat mixed with cornmeal. Just and they would good night. Whew. But yeah, where we at? Where we at? Verse 18? Okay.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, the flocks of thy sheep.
So we now you're not producing anything. Could you turn that fan off for me, young man? Now you're not producing anything. Now your cattle is not producing. Your flocks are not producing. You're not having children like you used to. And that curse extends into now. That curse extends into childbirth, stillborns, abortion. It says that the statistic says that 1 out of 4 black women will die during childbirth, which is crazy because it's not it's because of it's more likely because of malpractice, but it's still a curse. You know what I'm saying? It's still a curse. But we'll be cursing all of the things of our kind, of our people being born, of our flocks being born. That is a curse for not keeping the law, statute, and commandments. Where we at? Verse 19.
Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
Now remember what I said about that. You wake up, you got good spirits, you ready to, go at the day, whatever you got to do, you got to go to school, you got to go to work. You're like, yeah, I'm about to knock this day out. I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna handle my business. Now you're failing at everything. Now you're cursed at everything. You know what I'm saying? Like before, you if for the blessings, you would have been successful. You would have been successful. You would have been productive. Now you're not being productive. Now you're not being successful. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings.
What, that was verse 20? Oh, I'm so lucky. Go ahead.
Because of that, because of the wickedness of thy perish, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me.
So because of the wickedness, we don't live long. We have disastrous lives. We have traumatic tragedies in our community. We are met with violence in our community and abroad. because it's the fury of the Lord that is against us now, because we didn't keep the law, statute, and commandments. Go ahead.
Verse 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until we have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it.
So the land where we would go to possess it, which would have been the land of Israel, because this is a forewarning before we enter the land. This is telling us, yo, this is the rules. These are the regulations. These are the law, statute, and commandments before you go in there. So when we go to this land to possess it, the Lord will let pestilences cleave unto us and consume us and destroy us. Right? We would have the like COVID-19 is a pestilence. A pestilence. Uh, 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 the Black Plague is a pestilence. Things that are out of the control of people. You know what I mean? Those things just come and it's like a wave. Give me what verse we on? 22? Let's go.
The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with a sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
Well, that was just verse 22. So the Lord will smite us with all of those things, all of those infirmities, fever, inflammation, extreme burning, with the sword, blasting, mildew, and they shall pursue thee. Like this is crazy because this is Black people's life. When you look at diseases, when you look at high blood pressure, you look at STDs, you look at our living conditions, mildew. This is our life. You look at things like asthma, all type of things that we go through as Black people, that like a lot of them, sickle cell, a lot of things that only affect us. This is crazy. This is what the Bible. Now there is no book of the dead. There is no knowledge that anybody can bring up that could tell me about me and my people 4,000 years ago. There's no book but the Bible, right? Where we at? We're on verse 23. All right, go ahead.
And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
Good night. So the heaven would be like brass, like metal, where there's no rain coming through a brass. You know what I'm saying? And then it said the ground would be what, like iron. Now there's no crops growing, meaning famine, meaning food shortage. They just talked about a food shortage. Well, that wasn't a food shortage, but when the hysteria of COVID-19 hit, there was a food shortage. And recently they had a baby formula shortage, right? Recently, that was in 22. It was probably what, about September, August last year. But they had a baby formula shortage where United States had to get baby formula delivered from Europe. You know what I mean? But these are the things that have happened and has happened. Go ahead.
Verse 24. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed.
Right. So once again, that the rain shall be powder and dust, meaning ain't no rain coming, ain't nothing coming to grow crops, to produce. You need crops to grow. First of all, your cattle, none of that is having children like that. Then there's nothing for it to eat anyway. So you're getting into a state where you have to depend on another nation because the Lord done shut everything down for you. Everything has been shut down. Everything that you had going on that would have been successful, your mind state, your production, your business, your farm, even the rain that falls from heaven is shut down. Go ahead.
Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies.
Mhm.
Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them.
Damn.
It shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Damn. And that's what happened. 70 AD. That 70 AD was when the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem for once and for all, but it had happened before, right? We had when the Assyrians in Second Kings, what is that, 2 and 17? The Assyrians, the the Assyrians came, well, the Lord sent the Assyrians, right? Because the king of Israel kept sinning against the Lord. And so what the Assyrians did was basically take everybody out of Samaria and take them back to Babylon and then put his people in Israel, in Samaria, which was the capital of Israel, right? And so that the Babylonians, the Persians, Darius, uh, the Greeks, the Romans, like time and time again, this happened, right? Where we were put in captivity, where we were destroyed by our enemies. Where we at? Go ahead.
Verse 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away.
And when we got destroyed, of course, we don't really, because we're in America, we don't understand war. But in warfare, like what happened with the Native Indians, a lot of men were killed off. The majority of the young men were killed, and the only thing was left was the women and the older and the elderly. And so when the Assyrians came, the Assyrians, if you read about the Assyrians were ruthless. They would cut your head off. They would cut heads off and put them on stakes of Israelites. They would have you kill your own family while they standing there. They would throw Israelites off of cliffs. It's in the fresco, it's in the steles. You go look at the steles of them conquering what it was it Lachish and different Israelite towns. You got them throwing Israelites off a cliff. Like the Assyrians are known to have been brutal. And you can imagine after the carnage. And let me just tell you, it wasn't because we couldn't fight. It wasn't because we wasn't as good. It's because the Lord wasn't with us and he allowed it to happen. It's the same as with America. You wasn't in slavery because you know, the white man ain't over you because you can't fight. He's over you because you don't know who you are and you are sinning against the Lord. So the Lord ain't on your side. That's the only reason why they're over you. They're not stronger, tougher, brighter, smarter. They're not none of that above you. But you turned your back on the Most High, so he turned his back on you. And so for these things to happen and you be in a strange place that is not yours, a land of captivity, it would have to take a miracle for you to sit there and find out, like, wait a minute, I'm the children of God. I'm a son of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And remember who you are. That's what Daniel did. That's what Daniel prayed for. It's for brothers and sisters in a strange land in Babylon to remember who they are and turn and face the east and pray to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob for him to deliver them out of this bondage. Well, we were destroyed like that in different times, and our bodies would lay there, and nobody, the birds would come and peck at your body and eat your eyes out and just, eat you, just like how they eat carcasses in Africa today when something dies. Where you at?
Verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab.
Where you at? You on 27? Hold on one second. All right, go ahead.
Verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed.
So the Lord will smite us with the diseases that they had in Egypt. It said with the boils and the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, and with things, you got a sore where stuff is oozing out of it, and you got this and you got that. A good thing, something comparable would be like a diabetic sore, or something like that. A itch that won't stop. A scab, a emerald. Look that up. What is? I'm trying to find out what an emerald is. I want to break this all the way down. The itch, things that cannot be healed. You got things like AIDS that cannot be healed. You got oh, you got it. What is it?
Emerald is an archaic term for hemorrhoids,
Hemorrhoids.
derived from the old French word hemorrhoidic. It was used as a common English term until the 19th century.
So hemorrhoids. Can you imagine that? Because I thought hemorrhoids was something that's natural. I thought hemorrhoids was something that you get from when you just sit down too much. But hemorrhoids are like sores around your anus. All right, or tumors. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of things from, and this is from not listening to the Lord. So now think about this. I just named a lot of different things, and let's just say you have something. Let's just say you have, some ailment, something that you can't get rid of. You got it because you don't know the laws of the Lord. You got it because your ways are different from the ways of God. You're not following the law, statute, commandments. But here's the good thing: that all can get turned around. All of that can get turned around. That's the good news. If you put down the weed, stop sleeping with hoes, stop hating your brother, stop eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. Start keeping the law, statute, commandments. Those ailments that you got that you just can't get rid of. Those the diseases of Egypt, ancient Egypt. How did it put it? Let me read it. Let me see. Where we at? I will smite thee with the botch of Egypt. Those things of ancient Egypt, you can turn those around if you keep the law, statute, and commandments. Right? You raising your hand? Give me what are we at? Verse 28.
Verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
So the Lord you will be mad. You will have madness, right? And blindness, meaning not just blindness. We're not talking about blindness of a blind man. We're talking about blindness of not knowing what to do, not seeing your way, not knowing the direction to take. That type of blindness and astonishment. A lot of times you see black people that think they know everything. They think that you think that you're so self-righteous and you're all that until one day a white man calls you a nigger. And you're just so astonished. You're like, I can't believe, and you're just so hurt and so cut, but then you're just brought so low and you're humbled and you're astonished to know that that is the real reality and that we don't live in a post-racial society. The Lord will send things to us that will astonish us, that will make us. We think that we got rights when we get pulled over. We try to argue, like we see the Edomites do. They argue and threaten the police and pull knives on them, and police pat them on the back and talk to them and find out why they having a bad day. Not with you. They'll put a gun to your head and your kids is in the back seat. And all you doing is reaching for your damn ID. And you're astonished at the treatment. They'll shoot into your house while you're asleep. Breonna Taylor. While you're in a dead sleep, waking up to them coming in the house just letting off rounds. And you thought you live in a post-racial society and you live in a place that is the best place on the world, in America. Right? The Lord has sent that. I always say that, like, why black people didn't see that? Because around the time of 2010, from the time when Trayvon Martin got, matter of fact, from the time, was it Trayvon Martin or was it Mike Brown that was first? Somebody had put that in the chat. But from the time of them brothers, I think it's around 2010 that those brothers passed away. Until now, you done seen a insurge, a surge of police shootings. And let me just say for all y'all Barack Obama Christian Negroes, more black men died on camera during Barack Obama's terms than any other president. That's just a fun fact for you. But during that time, you've seen a surge of police shootings. You've seen a surge of Karens, mad at everything. And I'm like, the Lord is showing y'all right in y'all face. He's showing you, he's astonishing you, because black people on those videos are always astonished. Like, I can't believe it. They always flustered. They can't believe that Karen is mad at them. They can't believe that the police is treating them this way, you know. And the Lord has sent all of these things. And that's why Christianity is the issue, it's the problem, because we thought that we was all brothers and sisters in the name of Jesus. We followed that vain philosophy, but that vain philosophy then got us effed up, right? Then got us messed up out here and got us astonished when something happens to us like that, as if it wasn't never supposed to happen, or if that's not our real reality still to this day. If you could, let's keep going.
Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
So even in the daytime, like I said, we were blind. So it's like thou shalt grope at noonday. Even in the daytime, right? Even when you can see, a time when you can see, you still like this. You like a blind man. You like a blind man with a thing, trying to find where to go, what direction to go, trying to find your way. That's what that means. Read it from the top again.
Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness.
So you in the daytime, as black and Hispanic people, we, that's how, because we don't know who we are, we're like a blind man. We're like in the daytime, we can see. We know what's going on. We can see, but we still are like somebody in darkness. Like we can't see. Can't make decisions. Can't, you know, do the right thing. We can't, because we don't have the Lord. This is a curse that came from the Lord. This is madness. This is derision. This is the curse of the Lord. And a lot of black people say, I'm not cursed. I'm not cursed. Nigga, you are cursed. You are cursed until you realize that you are a son and daughter of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you repent and you start to keep the law, statute, and commandments. You are cursed in America. You are cursed in the Caribbean. You are cursed in Europe. You are cursed in Australia. You are cursed in Africa. Wherever God's people are, this curse is upon you if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. If you're following Christianity, if you're celebrating birthdays, then niggas can't let go of birthday. You a big ass kid, Salaki. You a big kid, you know what I mean, on your birthday. Don't nobody even remember birthdays no more. You gotta go online on Facebook and tell everybody, yeah, my birthday coming up. Yeah, well, I'm gonna do it big. No one would even remember your damn birthday. Let it go. It's against the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading. Start from the top again. Where were we at? 29?
Verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
And thou shalt be oppressed and spoiled evermore. Black people say we ain't oppressed. Could you get the word definition of oppressed again? I went over this a couple of weeks ago. You shall be oppressed and spoiled evermore. We went over spoiled at the beginning of the class. We know what spoiled is. It's to lose your value. Think of a piece of meat. If the meat is spoiled, it's no good. Black and Hispanic people are no good, good for nothing. It lost its value. You lost your value, but you can regain your value if you get in these classes in the ISUPK and start keeping the law, statute, commandments. Start learning this Bible the way it was supposed to be taught. Right? Go ahead.
Oppressed, subject to harsh and authoritarian treatment.
Oh, to be oppressed is to subject to harsh and authoritarian treatment, and what else? It's got to be more on it.
The Merriam-Webster definition of oppressed, burdened by abuse of power or authority.
Burdened by abuse of power or authority. We see that every day in the Black and Hispanic community, that we are burdened by the abuse and the power of authority through police brutality. That is oppression. You can't say that we are not oppressed today. You can't say that. We see oppression every day. Do Black people commit crimes? Yes. Do white people commit crimes? Yes. Do white people get shot on basic traffic stops by asking questions? No. Do Black people do? Yes. What is another form of oppression? Keep reading. It's more. It got to be more. It's more. No. It's more on that definition. It's, so yeah. Give me. It can't just be one example. I mean, one thing for oppression. It got to be a little more than that. Yeah. You looked up oppress. Yeah, oppression.
The Merriam-Webster definition of oppression: unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power.
Okay, unjust or cruel exercise of authority and power. Right? Of authority and power. Go ahead.
Something that oppresses, especially in being an unjust or excessive exercise of power.
Something that oppresses in being unjust. So in the Black and Hispanic community, you see a lot of unjust things, unfair. You get a lot of unfair treatment. Oppression, for some reason, I said this before, for some reason, Negroes, Edomites, white people, Caucasian people think that when you say that Black people are oppressed today, they think that we're saying Black people are in slavery. No, Black and brown people are just treated unfair today. And being treated unfair by people who have the power is oppression. And that oppression we just read is a curse if you did not follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Go where we at? 29. No, I want to just get the last part. And spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. That's also in the part in Deuteronomy 28:68. No man shall save you, meaning no man shall get you up out of this. No man will be able to stop the oppression. No protest, no Martin Luther King, no, Malcolm X. Nobody will be able to stop it. The only one that can stop it is Jesus Christ. Yahweh Shai Mashiach is the only one that can stop the oppression that Black and Hispanic people go through on a daily basis. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Mm-hmm. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes therefore.
So you will get a woman or get a wife, and another man will lay with her. He will rape her. That happened in slavery. That happened when the Spanish conquistadors came through, and raped destroyed the Aztec Empire. Intermarried with the women, right? So it says you will build a house. What did it say again? Thou shalt build a house. You'll build a house and you won't get a chance to live in it. You'll build a vineyard, but you won't get to reap the harvest. You won't get to get nothing from you won't get to get the grapes. You be the person that planted it. You be the person that Black people planted the crops, the tobacco and the cotton, and it made billions and trillions of dollars, but they didn't get to reap the harvest. They didn't get nothing from that till this day. That's a curse from the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
Good night, man. So your ox will be killed before your eyes. Matter of fact, you won't even get to eat none of it. Somebody else will eat your ox in front of you. Your donkey will be taken from you, stolen from you, and there won't be nobody to help them, force them to give it back to you, to restore that to you. Your sheep will be given unto your enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue. Basically, just taking everything you had, eating everything. You know what they said? I think they said that Commander Junior Hunter brought that out in a radio show, that when after the army, the Confederate army, it's like what was the Union soldiers when they came on the Civil War, and they came to fight the Confederate soldiers, and they came to, a lot of times, and I know this from all of my studies, that a lot of times when they came and they were killing the Confederate soldiers and they were freeing the slaves, a lot of slaves was like perplexed, like they confused, like didn't realize they was free, but the decree had already been given that the slaves was free. But a lot of times when these Union soldiers came, they would tell them like, yeah, you free, and they would kill everybody, and they'd be like, you free. And these slaves, the first thing they would do is go kill the ox and cook it right away, because they never got to eat the good meat. They got the scraps, they got the guts, they got everything that was thrown to the side. That's where soul food comes from. A lot of soul food comes from the things that the slave master didn't want to eat, and slaves made the best out of nothing, right? They did their hardest to make something out of nothing, not the best, but because we know pork is unclean, we know a lot of things were unclean, but they did their best they could to make it something out of nothing. But the first thing they did was slain that ox and cook it right there and eat it right there, because they had to see it. They was the ones that was raising that ox. They was the ones that was, using that ox to plow the dirt. And when it was time that ox got slaughtered, they didn't get none of that. They didn't get to eat that. They got to smell it. They got to smell it. Well, listen, man, we're going to continue this. Where we at? We at the end of the class. Listen, we have verse 32. We're going to continue this. I'll start the class next week for sure at verse 30. I'll start at 30, right? 30 again, just to give us some, maybe I'll go and do a recap, right? And we'll get it in. Listen, Israel, make sure you pay your tithes. Make sure y'all shared this video. I hope y'all shared this and y'all liked this video. Make sure you do that. I hope to see you at the Lord's Passover, right? I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. I want to go. I'm so excited. I want to see this plantation, right? I'm gonna get up in there, do some videos, and I look forward to seeing all the brothers and sisters. I look forward to just feeling that spirit that you always feel when you're around all of Israel. So make sure you there, and I'll catch y'all next week, the same time, Wednesday, and that's the end of the class. Hey, lift it up. Let's stop.